yeah, so working for 10 hours, from 8 in the morning till 7 at night. Really, it's 11 hours, but a 1 hour lunch. That leaves enough time in the morning. Really, I start work at like 7 because I got to get some role plays in. But I'll probably be up at 6. So if I can be up at 6, then that gives me, I mean, depending on if Mijo's up or not, if he's asleep, then I'll start started with my morning routine automatically. If he's awake, I'll probably spend, 15 to 30 minutes with him. Or if you're awake, 15 to 30 minutes with you in the morning time till 6:30. 6:30 to 7, doing either a quick walk or a run to watch the sunrise, to listen to the motivational video that I listen to every single day. It's 15 minutes long. That's enough time for me to get enough sun for the day. 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning sun. That's a great sleep. That's a great sleep habit. And it lets my body know that it's time to wake up. Plus, I'm out there running or walking. It's getting my blood flowing, and I'm listening and learning something that's cementing it in my mind. All of those things are wonderful. Then I take a quick shower, cold shower, get dressed, shave and everything, and I'm upstairs in the office by 7. 7 to 8, role play time, review my scripts, get ready for an hour. And also, this is a key piece, is write down the one thing that I'm working towards right now. Which right now, the thing that I'm writing down, I wrote it down last night for the first time. It's important to do it at least once every day for 30 days, but ideally 3 times a day if possible. I timed it on my watch, and it took me just under 8 minutes to do it. To write it down, and I think I actually wrote it down 30 times instead of 25 times. But the one thing that I'm writing down right now is, and you want to write it down in a way that you say in the current tense, something that has some type of emotion tied to it, and something that is positive. So the way that there's like 6 or 7 different things. Those are 3 of them. The one that I'm writing down right now is, I'm grateful that I finalize 26 sales every week. That's what I wrote down. I think maybe I need to add a little bit more detail on that. So I'm grateful that I finalize 26 sales every week at Reminder Media with ease. Yeah. And truly feel it, because I can see it, I can feel it. I did it today. It didn't manifest itself in deals yet because I didn't talk to enough people today. I only talked to like 12 people today. And so I need to talk to more people. But out of the first 6 that I talked to in the first 2 hours of the day, I had one great follow-up for Friday that should be a deal that if I had a little bit more skill, I would have been able to close today for sure. Just a little bit more, a little bit more of a squeeze. For sure he would have signed up today. The objection was a silly objection. I know he would have signed up. He's serious about doing it. He just needed to get approved from his company. Didn't isolate. I didn't do a couple of the steps that I needed to before I gave him a risk-free proposition. But that's one sale within a 2-hour time period. I was nonstop on the phone. I talked to 6 people, and I had the opportunity to close one of them for sure, without a doubt in my mind. I know I could have closed him. That in a 10-hour day, as long as I can do that every 2 hours, that's 5 deals a day without fail, easily. 5 deals a day, 5 days a week, that's 25 deals in a week. And I need 26. So one extra one, which will come just from a referral, or that'll come from the person that was going to buy anyways, something like that. That'll happen after talking to so many people. So, and I'll be getting better and better and better and better. And so it'll start there with closing 5 a day. And then I'll get to 20% close rate instead of 10. and that'll go to 10 a day. And then I'll ultimately get to 50% close rate. And when I do that, I'll be at 15 deals a day. That's 75 deals a week. That's 150 deals a pay period. That's $24,000 a check. That's $576,000 a year. And that's not considering bonuses or my base pay. Straight commission. And when I do that, within the next 3 years, then probably the only thing that I do better than learning quickly is then simplifying that into a process that's duplicatable by others. And so that's what I'm working on building now, are the steps to do that. Today's day one of taking this thing seriously. That's the first step, is take it seriously. And the things that led to this were, one is really like realizing the urgency of the situation financially, right? That was the first step. It's like, oh man, I actually have to do this. But that was operating out of fear. And so when you're operating out of fear, you're not really doing it because you want to do it. You're doing it because you have to do it. And that comes across in the tone, that comes across in the behavior. You'll do it sometimes. Sometimes it'll result in apathy or like feeling like, oh, what's the point? Failures can defeat you whenever you're doing it out of fear and hoping that something happens. So I had to create a shift. I had to create a path for attaining this goal to make it realistic. And so what I did was I actually took a look at the numbers. I closed at 8%. These are the number of people that I need to talk to. I need to talk to 64 people in a day, which right now seems unattainable. So I need to adjust the metrics a little bit, right? And if I can close 1 out of 6, not sure what that close rate is, but I think that's 16% or so. 16.5%, 16.6%, I think is what it is. 16.67%. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Which is twice as good as I am now. So if I can double it then, to 16%, then I can get to 20%, then I can get to 30%, then I can get to 40%, then I can get to 50%. So I'll just making little adjustments and becoming better and better and better and better. There's only so many people I can talk to in a day. If I can maximize that, but maximize my work ethic, then I can get there. And so I realized I cannot have, when I did the math, I was like, all right, so let's say I make these number of calls. Let's say it takes me a minute to make a call before I get to a voicemail. I did the math and I was like, okay, so I need to be on the phone. Out of a 10-hour day, I need to be on the phone like 5.5 hours just letting it ring. I was like, it's impossible. But then I realized maybe some are only going to ring once and it's going to hang up. And some people are going to answer right away. And some, there's going to be all kinds of other variables. And so when I realized that, it started making it more possible. Now I'm realizing I can definitely talk to 3 people an hour, even if one of them is a long presentation. The longest presentation I have are like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I can talk to 3 people an hour. I can talk to maybe even 4 people, maybe 6 people an hour, especially when I can cut down my presentation. A whole bunch of ways to get better. So the first step was to recognize the opportunity, to use inspiration or desperation, one way or the other. I created a tracker. I have a tracker now. I was setting goals based on number of sales. Now I'm setting goals based on actions that I can control, like my work ethic. So I'm tracking more things. That's part of the success, is I'm tracking more things. Now I'm tracking my utilization for the day. Today I ended like at 78%. It's fantastic. That's more than twice what I did yesterday. But I was at 98% the first 2 hours of the day. That's where I can operate. I can operate at 98%. I can operate, like that's a capacity that I have. That's exciting. If I can have the whole day, that means that I can talk to more people. If I talk to, that means I can operate at 8 hours, which means I can almost get 2 days in one day. 2 days of production in one day. More than 4 hours of phone time, I can get 8 hours of phone time. If I work 10 hours, I can get 10 hours of phone time in a day. Just about, maybe 9.5. Considering a couple breaks, I can get 9.5 hours of phone time in a day. I'll be on the phone longer than anybody in the company. That work ethic combined with the level of skill development and the level of focus on the goals. So one thing to do was to write down why I'm doing this, the number one goal that I'm focused on, feel that goal. I did that right before going to sleep. That was the last thing I was programmed in my mind. I woke up today, I was ready to go. I set a couple alarms. I woke up before the alarms. Looked at my watch and said, look at that. I wanted to wake up at 6:55 with sun rising. And I set an alarm for 7:10 because I was getting bed a little later than I wanted to. And I was like, I need to make sure I get enough sleep, this and that, yada, yada. Well, it turns out I woke up, I was fine. I had great energy today, bunch of it. I didn't feel like taking a nap once today. I'm so focused on this. So that's the key to focus, key to energy is focus, direction towards something, and to stop being pulled away by other things. The other thing I did yesterday was I completely deleted social media. I realized that was draining my time. It was taking my attention. Also, even sometimes, definitely in the pooper, right? And that's definitely taking my attention in there. And it was also taking my attention sometimes, even when I'm making calls. I don't need to have my phone in there for any reason at all when I'm making phone calls. You know what I mean? If I was in the office, I would have my phone out. There was like a no cell phone rule at Reminder Media at the corporate office. Why would I have it any difference in my office? Yes, of course, I can have my phone. Like, there's nothing against it or anything like that, but it was pulling some attention. And so, 100% focus on the CRM, dialing. That was the key today. The goal, setting the goal, listening and programming my mind, because I realized that the body will do whatever you tell the mind to do. But if the mind isn't programmed and it's just saying, I'll go wherever, then the body will dictate where to go. And the body will say, man, this is hard. This sucks. You don't want to do this. The body will say, you're tired, man. You didn't get enough sleep. The body will say, doesn't your back hurt? Aren't you, all these things that the body will say. But if you program the mind, it doesn't matter. The mind controls the body. I heard an analogy of you ever seen one of them big old crane machines, or one of them big old dumpster trucks, or 18 wheelers, right? These giant machines. And then you see this little guy sitting there like Mateo Pena or something like that, right? Just sitting in the driver's seat, little dude driving the truck. And it's how does that guy controlling that giant machine? That little guy's the brain and the thoughts and the belief systems. And so to program the belief systems, control the rest of the body, as long as you can program the belief system. So I'm programming the belief system that I'm grateful that I finalized 26 sales every week at Reminder Media with ease. So that then the actions that my body takes are towards that goal. When it's, how long do I take, going to the bathroom? How long do I take in between calls? How long do all of this stuff, it starts to program the mind to think, how would that person, the person who's saying, I'm grateful that I finalized 26 sales, how does that person behave in this situation? Well, I would certainly be making phone calls. I would certainly be getting back as quickly as I possibly could. I would certainly be trying to close every single person that gets on the phone. I would certainly have my call guides right in front of me. I would certainly have role play sessions to make sure that I'm prepared for the day and I'm confident for the day and my tone's where it needs to be for the day from the very first call, because it's too important, because I got to close these people. And so the behaviors start to follow when you start programming the mind. So I'm programming the mind to believe that I'm a champion, to believe that I was put here for a reason, to believe that it is my duty, my responsibility, my obligation to meet my maximum capacity, my maximum potential, to live up to my potential, because I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the God I serve. And he says that I deserve that. It says that's why he says I'm a child. And I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God that was put here to have everything I could possibly want in the entire world. The Garden of Eden was everything you could possibly want in the entire world for free. Gold, every single fruit, all the animals, everything. God gave to us. That's ours. Everything is ours. God gave it to us. I'm a descendant. I'm royalty. And so I need to act in alignment with that, because God's a creator. He literally created the entire world. And so I'm a creative being. And so I need to direct that creative energy, because otherwise the world will pull it here, pull it there, my body will pull, all the stuff will be pulled everywhere, and I'll be left with nothing, just drained, exhausted, nothing. But if I'm working towards something and I'm directing this energy, then energy in motion will continue in motion until acted upon by another force. That's just a law of physics. So if I can keep pushing that way, pushing that way, pushing that way, maybe I hit a speed bump, but I keep pushing that way, maybe eventually there's momentum. And the key is to never quit pushing, because as soon as you stop pushing, you can develop all the momentum in the world. But if you stop pushing, then you're going to start slowing down. At first, without realizing that you're slowing down, and then eventually you're just stopped on the side of the road with a flat and you didn't even realize you were slowing down. And then you got to fix the flat, and then you got to start pushing, and then you got to start getting momentum again. And the key to fixing that flat is to fix the mindset. The key is to start programming the mind in a direction. And the direction doesn't matter. Anything, literally, whatever you want to do with your life, literally anything, the only thing that you need to do is program the mind. Les Brown says was the easiest thing that he was able to do was to get from under the labels and become one of the top motivational speakers in the world, from being labeled educable, mentally retarded. That's how he puts it. I don't know what the specific terminology is these days, but that's what he was labeled. He was labeled the dumb twin. People didn't think he could learn. One teacher told him that to stop believing what people say about you. That's not true about you. What other people say doesn't have to be your reality. And now he's one of the top motivational speakers in the world. And he said that the easiest thing for him to do was actually to do that, to become that speaker. That the hardest thing in the world for him to do was to believe that he could. And so it's the belief within you. And he had a discussion with Eric Thomas, who was the number one motivational speaker in the world, whenever he was number 20. And Eric Thomas was like, man, I'm struggling. Number 20 right now, man. And he was like, whatever he said it wasn't that he was number one. And Les Brown stopped him. He was like, man, you need to stop saying that. You need to stop saying that you're struggling with this, X, Y. He said, you're the number one motivational speaker in the world right now. The only reason why you're not is that you don't believe that you're the number one motivational speaker in the world right now. And so start to proclaim it before it happens. So he started saying in his YouTube videos, I'm the number one motivational speaker in the world. And he said, whenever I opened up my YouTube and I spoke it and the world responded, and I'm the number one motivational speaker in the world. You have to believe that you can do that. And so that is the first step towards building momentum, towards building work ethic, towards building this inspiration to create something rather than operating out of fear, is to start to believe that it's possible, to start to believe that you can. And the key is to not be alone with your own thoughts, literally, because the world will tell you all the negative thoughts. And so you have to direct the positive thoughts that you want to be thinking. And so now I'm finding these YouTube videos that are saying the positive thoughts that I want to be thinking, and literally every single downtime that I have. You saw me walking around with the headphones on earlier. I was carrying Miko. I'm spending family time. I love spending time with him. I'm talking to him. But in the background, I'm also listening to, this is who I am. These are the positive thoughts, because your mind will keep thinking. The mind doesn't stop thinking. So I want to be programming that. Every down second that I have, I want to be programming my mind with the positive beliefs that I want to believe in. I want to be learning something. I want to be something to direct my mind, because it will go out of control if I let it. I got to prune my mind. I have to take care of it like a tree, like a garden, right? And make sure, pull the weeds and direct and plant and do all the things that I want to think, all the things that I want to see, all the things I want to believe. I can program those in my mind, and eventually they will appear in the world. And so that's just day one. That's the things that I've done to be very, very serious about this thing is focus on the one singular goal, have a scoreboard to actually track that, have a whole bunch of things to track that move towards that goal. So at the end of the day, like today, where it wasn't a day that I had sales that I could look at and say, hey, I didn't have any sales today and feel down about it. Instead, I'm looking at the day and say, hey, I more than doubled my work ethic and production today. I ended at 78%. I think that might be the best or the highest day that I've done ever at the company, 78% for the day. And today's just day one. So that's exciting, right? And so the other thing is, writing it down 25 times. I'm going to do it now before we go to sleep again. And then ideally in the morning time again. I role played this morning. That was something that I did. I met with Darren Russell. His energy is also something that helped me, because I had a coaching call with him when we were in Monclova last week. And he gets on the call. He's like, "Hey, brother, just wonder." He's like, "How are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?" He said, "I'm abundant. I'm blessed. I am." He said like 4 or 5 different affirmations, and his energy. And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes." Like that's, and so I talked to him today about it. I was like, "Man, I just got to say thank you, because like that energy." And he was like, "Yeah, man, it's called metacognition, and it's programmed. Like, you got to program." And I was like, "Yes, I'm programming myself right now. I love it, man." You were brought into my life for a reason. You have the right attitude, man. This is what I'm talking about. And even like the way that he's coaching and stuff like that, like it's exactly what I need. And he meets every Monday and every Wednesday to role play. I had no idea. I'm gonna meet with him every single week. Like, I'm fired up to meet with him every day. And so that's part of it, was the role play. So the key was the goals, the tracker, the mindset, the role play, the data, and then the action just follows. The action just follows. It's just who I believe I am. The action just follows. And so those are the steps so far that I've taken that I can remember right now in this short 22-minute video. Day 1, getting after it. I'm fired up. And even just now, I was having dinner. I was listening to Eric Thomas. It made me cry. I recorded it. So passionate. Just building the mindset, and it ends with I can, I will, I must. I was literally like, and like just thinking about it, like, yeah, this is what I like. Yes, this I can get. And he's like, whatever mountain you're looking to climb, like, say it with me, I can get over it, I will get over it, I must get over it. Yes, I have to. There's no other way. Like, there is no quit. And so I talked to Peter this morning, and I let him know, he was like, "How you been?" I said, "Hey, I'm so happy to be home. This is how things have been. Went on this trip. It was awesome in Eagle Pass. Had my own workspace. At the same time, it's not the same as having your office space. Did pretty well. It's not the same. Then I went to my grandma's, the technical issues, had these situations that I just didn't overcome. But I was distracted. At the end of the day, I just was distracted. And that's what caused it. Finally got back. I had back-to-back days where, I saw cousins that I hadn't seen in a long time, stayed up really late, drank. I normally don't drink. Like, I don't think I told him that part, but it was like I stayed up super late till like 3. I got like 4 hours of sleep. Then I hit the road for, 4 hours or whatever, 5 hours. And then, took a little break in Eagle Pass, stayed up late again, hit the road again for another 4 hours, then hit the road again for another 3.5, 4 hours that same day. Meant to go to sleep. I had to get the office back ready. And so Monday, had 4 hours of sleep again. But I was on fire, 65% utilization. I just was distracted still, though, and meant to go to sleep earlier. Kind of got to sleep a little bit earlier, 1 o'clock. But yesterday, I feel like I just crashed. I took a couple breaks. I was in the bathroom. I think my body was just reacting to it. But I got serious last night, and I told him, I looked at the numbers, I dissected the data, I cleared out my entire office to have a peaceful, focused work environment with no distractions. I put the TV there, so now I have this giant screen that I can read from, that I can sit and stand, so that way I can project better. I met with Darren this morning to role play. I listed all of the steps that I had taken, and he knew that I was serious. And so we didn't even need to talk about that. He kind of like sprinkled in utilization a couple other times. I was like, bro, take a look at my time so far. Look at my day today. You don't need to have this discussion with me. I didn't tell him that, but he could tell like by my tone that it was like, you don't need to have the talk with me on getting my work ethic up, because take a look at the day so far, and my actions will show you that my work ethic is already up. I already had that conversation with myself last night. We don't need to have that combo. We still had some coaching, reviewed some calls, this and that. I was like, okay, cool. But listen to my tone today, though. You listen to my tone today. Okay, yeah, no, it's good. All right, cool. So work ethic, check. Tone, check. Stick to the script, literally have the script right there. Check. Anything else? Nope. The whole coaching session today, I already was doing before our coaching call. I knew I needed to be on it, and I was, and the results will follow. As long as I keep these actions up, and I will. Today's day one, and so I just need to do those things because it needs to be a habit of the things to do in the morning time to program the mind, the actions throughout the day. Probably need to reprogram every single time I have to take a break, maybe at 10 o'clock, maybe at noon, before, definitely I work out, and so I'm going to listen to that during noon, like just programming over and over and over again. Eventually what ends up happening is that I'm reciting the videos that I'm listening to as if they're my own words, and that starts to build the belief in myself. And not only that, because I'm saying it, but because I'm doing the actions tied to those beliefs. And so the actions further that belief in my mind, because then I see what I'm doing and I'm saying, yes, what I'm doing is aligning with the things that I'm saying, and that cements it as the identity whenever you actually, and that helps build your credibility within yourself whenever you start doing the things that you say you're going to do. Because what ends up happening is that you got goals, you got these, I'm going to do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. You say things, and then whenever the actions don't follow, the results don't follow, then that starts to drop the belief. But really, the belief can be as high as possible regardless of the results. And eventually when you have that belief, that unwavering belief, then the results start to happen and you start to reinforce your belief system, and it starts to become momentum. And so we'll continue doing this every single day to document this, because this won't be the last time that I lose momentum. I would love it to be. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe this is the last time I lose momentum. Maybe I revisit this every 3 months, just to maybe every month, just to remember, But if I never stop doing the things that got me to the top, then I will never be at the bottom. But I will, because PBD says, Patrick Bet David, what people tend to do is they'll climb the top and then they sit there at the top because it's comfortable there. And what's really hard to do is to move into another arena where your current production and expectation and lifestyle and earnings and whatever else you might want to measure is actually the bottom of the next mountain. And then you work up again. And then you go do that again. And it's painful to be at the bottom. I'm experiencing it now. But the people that choose to do that and operate at their peak, but join a new group where what they're experiencing is actually the bottom of that group, that's how you level up and level up and level up and level up. And so I will experience this again by choice. And when I do, then I need to replay this and remember. And then what ends up happening is with each new mountain that I look to go climb, that actually becomes a habit. Starting at the bottom and getting to the top starts to become a habit. And so then the time period to jump from, like 30,000 that I was starting the year off producing at to like 50,000 is what I was averaging for the year 6 months in, to 100,000 to 150,000 to 250,000 until I get to that $500,000 mark that I was just talking about, until I get to the $1 million mark that I'll get to, till the $10 million mark, to the $100 million mark, to the $1 billion mark, to the $10 billion mark, 100 billion, up and up and up and up. There's new mountains to climb, new mountains to climb, new mountain every single time. And it will start at the bottom. And that habit, that skill will continue to strengthen, and momentum will continue to build. In combination with leverage, of course. But that's day one recap. Gratitude was a piece that I missed out. Definitely expressed gratitude this morning. Prayer, definitely prayed throughout the day. That was important. Left that out. What else did I do? Still took a little bit longer on lunch than the hour that I'm allotted. It's 10 minutes longer. I need to compress that a little bit. Spend a couple little, time blocks here and there with Mijo today. That could probably be improved. Time with my babe. Definitely got to make sure that that's blocked in, because that's important too. Like, that's the whole reason behind all of this, is to make sure that we can be comfortable as a family. And to get there, it takes obsession over this thing. So now I'm gonna go edit my scripts. Now it's been 30 minutes, so it's probably 9:30. Got 30 minutes to edit my scripts. I'll get to bed.